subjects all adore her. She reigns in tiny Maklaco, an Arctic nation wrapped in snow.
Canada and the USA are building bases there today.
A project vast in its design, the distant early warning line,
known to government officials as the Jew line by its 3 initials.
The dollars spent in large amounts enrich our bulging bank accounts. And that's why we parade the aisles in the sleekest, chicest Arctic styles. Though Maklaco is poor and primitive, obscure, a frozen waste of snow and ice. Now July dollars flow, our future prospects glow, and at present we're a happy, healthy, very wealthy polar paradise. We helicopter flights, fluorescent northern lights, with platinum our dog sleds shine. To give credit where it's due, we owe our fortune to our work as Uncle Sam's assistant on that distant early warning line.
Into a new world, my hopes so foolishly high, I fly into a new world, into the blue where a new heaven must lie, into a new world where nights of loneliness are quite unknown, into a light blue world, sunny and bright new world, into the arms of a love of my own.
Don't you think that if you were going to show me Canada and Canadians, you should have some idea of what you were talking about?
Not necessarily.
Look, you claim to be a national entity.
That's right,
I
but-
want to see your Canadian identity.
Yes,
I
right,
want to be shocked by the national morality.
Now wait.
And come to grips with Canadian mentality.
But don't you see the trouble with Canadians is they spend half their time convincing the Americans they're not British, the other half convincing the British they're not Americans, which leaves them no time to be themselves.
But surely you must have some distinctive characteristics.
I'd like to see them.
You can always tell the English by the way they cut their hair. You can always tell a German by the way he drinks his beer. You can always tell a Frenchman by his sense of savoir-faire.
You can always tell an American, but you can't tell him much.
Every other country has traditions by the mile. If you're going to be a nation, you've got to have a style. You have to have a unique constitution.
That we've got.
You've got to make your own contribution.
To what?
You've got to express yourself in literature and art. And on the international scene, you've got to play a part.
Well, what about old Mike Pearson, anyway?
So tell me all the statistics I should know, the people to meet, the places to go. What should I see? What should I hear? The right things to know and to wear. What issues raise a storm in Canada?
When will the Senate reform in Canada?
Where's the best place to have a ball in Canada?
Or to get away from it all in Canada?
Teach me how to think, Canadian, how to drink and eat and drink, Canadian, be and skate, Canadian, teach me how to mate, Canadian.
Say, what's all this about mating anyway?
What are the liberal attitudes, the cocktail party platitudes?
What do I do? Lily, I'm in a dictating mood. Get me my hat.
I feel the sun coming on.
Here you are, Gigi.
Thank you, Lily, my dear.
I'm ready.
From Victoria to Uganda, I tend to vice regalities. To quote Lord Alexander, I govern generalities. It's part of the vice-regal game to tour municipalities. At every stop I must proclaim the same polite banalities. Charming, delightful, beautiful, frightful.
Banalities, Gigi? Is that B-U-N-E-L-L?
Diplomats appreciate a ceremonial head of state. Canada's prestige would fall without the Governor-General.
Canada's prestige?
The upper classes need me too. Their daughters must make their debut. They could not hold the Mayport Ball without the Governor-General. Oh, you must always act with charm and tact, with finesse and discrimination, to be a master of the art of Governor-Generalization.
Boy, you tell him, Gigi.
I represent Her Majesty in our parliamentary travesty. There'd be no speech from the throne at all without the Governor-General. Oh, you must always act with charm and tact.
Hey, Gigi! Gigi, look, you've done this already. Aren't you good for anything else?
So I have, Lily. Now let me see. At every football season's end, the playoff game I must attend. It would not be Grey Cup football without the Governor-General. Oh, you must always act with charm and tact, with finesse and discrimination, to be a master of the art of Governor-Generalization.
Though a stranger to our shores, unaccustomed to our moors, might think our behavior was odd. In Canada, of course, we're an intellectual force. We're the Culturalities Squad.
We've commissioned a lot from Alexander Brott.
We gave Davy Dunton his start. We're the chaps who pour the tea at the National Gallery, and we peddle chunks of Eskimo art. Canadiana, Canadiana, mensana incorpore sana. Though all the nations are top banana, we'll still take Canadiana. We awarded a prize for Mike Pearson's bow ties. We gave birth to the Blue family. For those who had fought the Massey Report, we stand on guard for thee. Canadiana, Canadiana, mensana incorpore sana. Though all the nations are top banana, Canadiana. Our hankies are made in the Burlington Arcade, and we go to Savile Row for our style. Oh, we look queer in our caps, but actually, chaps, it's simply that we're Anglophiles. Canadiana, Canadiana, mensana incorpore sana. Though all the nations are top banana, we'll still take Canadiana. Our brawly's so neat, come from Regent Street. You can tell that yardly smell for miles. We're just itty-bitty British,
We're ruddy, bloody British.
in any case we're Anglophiles. Canadiana, Canadiana, mensana incorpore sana. Though all the nations are top banana, we'll still take Canadiana. Rum!
When I tell the girls about my job, they all say stop complaining. Your boss needs a wife, has an income for life, and a flair for entertaining. But when he says, let's spend the evening by a river in a tent, the the Stratford Shakespeare Festival he meant. Or when he says, let's see the latest show, what do you say? We go see the National Ballet. And though he must know I'm prepared to give my all, he takes me to the drama festival. So the next time he wants to see a play, this is what I'm going to say. Why don't you come down to my level and let's give the devil his due? I ache to make some love to you. Why don't you pack it up and stow it, all this literature and poetry? Honey, don't be highbrow with me. If you need sophisticate, call Kate Aiken, she's a witch. If you like your girls hard bitten, call up Charlotte Whitten. She's the nicest old girl in Ottawa. If a sporting bell suits you well, there's Marlene Stewart and Marilyn Bell. Your brow is highbrow, low brow is my brow. Honey, don't be highbrow with me. Take Pavlova and Nijinsky, Stokowski and Stravinsky too. I ache to make some love to you. Take Sartre and Picasso, throw them in the Sargasso Sea. Honey, don't be highbrow with me. Your brow is highbrow, low brow is my brow. Honey, don't be highbrow with me. Take Beethoven and take Bach. I just want to hear that rock and roll. When I hear those Presley blues, I lose control. I don't give a damn for Dolly, the opera or the ballet show. Won't you play Art Miller to my Marilyn Monroe?
And that concludes this year's speech from the throne. The members are now proceeding to elect a speaker, and in just a very few moments we will hear the opening debate on the flag. Unfortunately, both the Prime Minister and the Minister of Trade and Commerce are absent today, so the debate will be opened by the Minister of Supply and Demand, who is the acting head of the Liberals.
Mr. Speaker, though of nationhood we brag, this house has never authorized a flag. A flag, a flag, a flag. So no one knows which banner should be flown, except the province of Quebec, which flies its own.
Except the province of Quebec, which flies its own, its own, its own, its own.
It's time to remedy this situation and show the world that Canada's a nation. No longer should our country lag behind. Gentlemen, you must make up your mind.
Oh no, he says we must make up our mind. Why was Parliament designed if every one of us must show intelligence enough to know? Oh no, he says we must make up our mind. We would have long ago resigned if everybody had to show intelligence enough to know. Uncle will not fly a flag without the Union Jack.
Il faut que nous les Canadiens défendent l'autonomie. Alors un drapeau symbolique avec nos fleurs de lis. Il faut que nous les Canadiens défendent l'autonomie. Alors un drapeau symbolique avec nos fleurs de lis. Il faut que nous les Canadiens défendent l'autonomie. Alors un drapeau symbolique.
We're representing this here house, Newfoundland's earthy sod. We'll fly no flag which does not boast that noble fish, the cod.
With beavers, foxes, polar bears, reindeer and caribou, it seems to me your flag will look just like the Granby Zoo.
On Britain is her colony, in folk and newly Canadian, we represented this here house. Beavers, foxes, polar bears, Union Jack, autonomy, fleur-de-lis from sea to sea. Beavers, foxes, polar bears, caribou, the Granby Zoo. Canadians from sea to sea, let's not be our endeavor. Forget the emblem of our race, the maple leaf. Forever.
Mr. Speaker, though our patience is immense, it's time we heard a little common sense.
Ha ha!
Mere politics, our vote should never sway. Let's listen to what conscience has to say.
Ho ho!
We should rise above the party of our choice to show our country speaks with but one voice.
To show our country speaks with but one voice. Here, here!
Since with emotions patriotic we are swept, I'd put it to the vote right now, except
What?
instructions from my party's chief are late. So I don't know what my conscience should dictate.
What's that?
I don't know what my conscience should dictate.
Oh no!
So I don't know what my conscience should dictate.
What? No, no! Here, here! Ho, ho! Oh ho! Oh ho! We'll never ever know our mind. That's what Parliament's designed, so none of us will ever show intelligence enough to know. Oh no! Oh no! We'll never ever know our mind. We would have long ago resigned if everybody had to show intelligence enough to know his own damn mind. The party of our choice has been in power for so long. It's evident to everyone that liberals do no wrong. Uncle Lou, tell us what to do, give a sign. Right away, tell us how to say the party line. Send a note, tell us how to vote, send a note. Uncle Lou, tell us what to do and how. We've got the power, we don't mind a parliamentary fight. The socialists get left behind, the Tories can't be right. Uncle Lou, tell us what to do, give a sign.
Give a sign.
Right away, tell us how to say the party line.
Party line.
Party line.
Party line.
Send a note, tell us how to vote, send a note. Uncle Lou, tell us what to do and how.
Saskatchewan wants shocks of wheat.
The Maritimes want chips.
The West wants mountains topped with snow.
PEI's potato chips.
Calgary wants a head of steer.
Niagara wants a falls.
Ottawa needs a mayor.
You can have Montreal's.
The Yukon wants a polar bear.
One wants a moose.
Baffin Island wants a seal.
Gander wants a goose.
Why spend our time on these debates? You know the modern trend. The bill that the government dictates will go through in the end. Uncle Lou, tell us what to do, give a sign. Tell us how to say the party line. Send a note, tell us how to vote, send a note. Uncle Lou, tell us what to do and how, what to do and how, what to do.
ever knew that any other two could hate one another. We hate each other. More than a kitten that's drawn by its mother at birth must hate its mother. More than Virgil hated Horace. More than players Philip Morris or some folk Du Plessis or Wednesday night CBC. For there's nothing we'd rather do than hate one another till death do us part, sweetheart. We hate each other. More than a Catholic censor baby doll. We hate each other. We hate each other. More than Abel was capable of hating his brother. More than Eden his replacement. Christian Dior Eaton's basement. Or a stripper who when she strips her stuff then finds that her zipper nips her. We hate each other. And we'll hate one another till death do us part, sweetheart.
Some people were born to love.
Maybe we were born to hate.
I hate you. That's the song of songs.
That's better.
I hate you, whispers the breeze.
I hate you truly.
Truly do.
Getting to loathe you. Getting to loathe all about you.
I give to you, and you give to me.
True hate, true hate.
I can't give you anything but hate, baby. That's the only thing that's really great, baby.
Hate me tender, hate me cruel.
Elvis!
Never let me go.
Fish gotta swim, birds gotta fly. I've gotta loathe that man till I die. Can't help loathing that man of
Hate and divorce, hate and divorce go together like a carriage and horse. This to tell you, brother, you can't have one, you can't have one, you can't have one without the other. We hate each other more than we ever knew that any other two could hate one another. We hate each other more than the UNO when the Russians go. We hate each other. Than the GOP loves Adelaide more than celibates love madly, or a madam when things are lagging. Lots the sound of a paddy wagon. We hate each other.
and we'll hate one another.
Yes, hate one another.
Mean hate one another.
Just hate one another till death do us part, sweetheart.
Ask a student any day in October, March or May. Have you done your work today? This is what they'll say. Got to keep a date today. Clubs to run, sports to play. Don't have for the books today. This is what we all say. Next week is work week. No more can we shirk week. Open up a text week. Not this but the next week. Next week is work
show today. Songs to sing, roles to play. No time for the books today. This is what we all say.
No one could be keener on Victorian demeanor than the girls in Dr. Roscoe's care. But when you hear that beat at 555 on Sherbrooke Street, inhibitions and traditions disappear. Clarinet blues, trumpets there, we lose every care. All those blues just disappear to the Royal Victoria rag. We do it in the East Wing, we do it in the West, but on the steps of RBC, a social life is best. Fiddle comes, trombones spray, in the dance you'll soon be gay. Everybody jumps when they play the Royal Victoria rag. We do it on the ground floor, we do it on the top. Stop, stop, stop! Once that rhythm catches you, you never want to stop. Stop, stop, stop! Piano rocks, trombone blows, knees knock, so twist those toes. Nothing blocks our libidos, it's the Royal Victoria rag. We do it when it's cold out, we do it in the heat. 'Cause troubles all evaporate when you hear that Charleston beat. It's the Royal Victoria rag.
They call it high society. Have you ever wondered why? It's that state of insobriety they mean when they say high.
And sociologically speaking,
The fact is very clear. Society gets higher every year. The Honourable Christopher Mayfair went out on a 3-day spree. The night of his sister's debut, he didn't turn up till 3. With a couple of elderly trollops he'd picked up at the Shapery. Society gets higher every year.
young Cynthia's rich father owned a handsome sailing ship. Well, after an all-night party, took her escort on a trip. While reclining on the poop deck, she let her mooring slip. Society gets higher every year. So that's why, mothers, we insist you keep your daughters off that list. Send them to the mother house to learn the typist trade. If they marry the boss,
the initial loss
will more than be repaid.
'Twas the Junior League prize party that made a name for Don. At midnight they were wondering where all the men had gone. He was running a floating crap game in the downstairs gentleman's John. Society gets higher every year.
'Twas a night of old St. Andrew's ball, and Jock had one of those tilts. Well, after the reels were over, he borrowed a pair of stilts. And answer the ancient question, what do Scots wear under their kilts?
Every year.
So that's why, brothers, I insist you keep your sisters off that list.
If their photos on the social page would look a little harsh,
It'll cost a lot
of you-know-what
to be retouched by Karsh. The Bensons' handsome chauffeur they simply had to sack. He was meant to be driving their daughter home when they found them in the back.
And whatever he was driving, it was not the Cadillac. For society gets no drier, in fact it's getting higher. Society gets higher every year.
My daddy was too busy making money to spend his time on family affairs. He never bounced me on his knee, but bounced the market frequently. And now we've joined the ranks of millionaires. The Financial Times, not nursery rhymes, he'd quote from memory. But raising bids, not raising kids, took all his energy. But now that I am coming out, I know that he's my friend. For what a father does not earn, his daughter cannot spend. So I'll see once more around the dance floor, while I thank you for all that I've had. Though a capital loss makes a businessman cross, I'm so glad you could pay for me, Dad. The bills that I owed will add to the load of debts your accountant must add. He'll write my career in credit this year, but I'm glad you could pay for me, Dad. I'm so glad you could pay for your good bouquet, for the champagne and little pink caddy, for the furs and the dress my thanks I express. I'm so glad you could pay for them, Daddy. On St. James Street I know you have many a foe. Your rivals all call you a cat. Though we seldom have met, I think you're a pet. And I'm glad you could pay for me, glad you could pay for me. Pay for me, Dad.
Daddy, I wish I could show you the way we dance these days. Just listen to this, Daddy. Ready, Eddie? And rock and roll won't save my soul, but it gets my chick ready to click. Rock and roll won't save my soul, but it gets my chick ready to click. Rock and roll won't save my soul, but it gets my chick ready to click.
Excuse me there, but could you say exactly how you got this way?
Doctor, when you hear that beat, inhibition sound retreat, depressions vanish in thin air, all frustrations disappear, basic instincts take control, and that's why the cats all rock and roll, and that's why the cats all rock and roll. Elvis with your blue suede shoes, you rid my baby of her blues. Elvis with Heartbreak Hotel, you put ideas in her head as well. Up the hang around the clock, rock, rock. Come on, rebels, rock, rock, rock. Come on, rebels, rock, rock, rock. Elvis with your old hound dog, you got my baby all agog. Elvis with your tutti frutti, you really heat it up, my cutie. Up the hang around the clock, rock, rock. Come on, rebels, rock, rock, rock.
Shame on you. Shame.
I, the Honourable and Sanctimonious Member of the Censorship Board, Province de Quebec, do hereby adjudge the following portions of this scene to be obscene, and therefore suppressed. It is with sincere regret that I do deem them unfit for consumption by anyone except myself, and therefore Suppress it, let nobody express it. It's not the truth you want to see, but the world as I say it should be. I've got to earn my salary, suppress it. At the sight of the outlaw, my pulse quickens. Snip, snip, and Oliver Twist can go to the dickens. Snip, snip, no single girls in double beds. Snip, snip, and let's chop baby doll to shreds. Snip, snip, everyone will be set on fire. Snip, snip, by the thought of a streetcar named Desire. Snip, snip, Lily Sincere has got to go. Snip, snip, the only four-letter word I know is snip. Suppress it, let nobody express it. It's not the truth you want to see, but the world as I say it should be. I've got to earn my salary, suppress it. Nobody has affairs, of course. Snip, snip, so don't even talk about divorce. Snip, snip, no bikinis on the beach. Snip, snip, and don't let Martin Luther preach. Snip, snip, don't let the French show facts of love. Snip, don't show Italian acts of love. Snip, snip, let's not admire womankind. Snip, snip, not Russell's front nor Monroe's behind. Snip, snip, suppress it, let nobody express it. It's not the truth you want to see, but the world as I say it should be. I've got to earn my salary, suppress it.
Dante and Petrarch have written of love, Byron and Shelley he mocked. Shakespeare has many a sonnet on it, and Keats repeats all that they wrote. Keats repeats all that they wrote. I know I won't add my name to this scroll. All my ideas I admit that I stole. But if Mr. Gallop is taking up all
other.
Wow!
Although we know we may fight nearly every day, we're stuck with each other.
Stuck with each other.
Though there are bound to be times that we disagree, we're stuck with each other.
Stuck like Francis, stuck with Paris.
Or like Tweed, stuck with
Harris for a battleship with a sailor.
lots of dough. E.B. Taylor, we're stuck with each other. And I think that we'd rather be stuck with each other, close to one another, than with any other till death do us part, sweetheart.
Ladies and gentlemen, as newly appointed personal press representative of the Governor General, I have to announce that he has a most important statement to make.
Fellow Canadians and citizens of MacLeod, it is with great pleasure that I announce my marriage this morning to Her Royal Highness the Princess Aurora of MacLeod.